U.S. police have clashed with protesters in Missouri after an officer shot dead a black teenager close to where another black youth, Michael Brown, was killed in August, sparking national protests. A crowd of about 100 gathered at the scene in St. Louis early on Wednesday after scuffles the night before. St. Louis County Police said the man who was shot had pulled a gun at a petrol station and pointed it at the officer. For weeks there have been widespread protests over alleged police brutality. Berkeley is about 2 miles from the suburb of Ferguson, where 18-year-old Michael Brown was shot dead by a white officer. Bad choices made. Local media named the victim of the Berkeley shooting as Antonio Martin, 18, citing his mother. St. Louis County Police Chief Jon Belmar said the officer was responding to a call about a theft when he saw 2 men at a petrol station in North Hanley Road and approached them. He said that one of the men pointed a handgun at the officer, and the officer responded by firing 3 shots, one of which hit the man. The officer responded with what he thought was commensurate force at the time, Col Belmar said, adding that most of us would feel in imminent danger of losing our lives at that point. Col Belmar described the incident as a tragedy for everybody, and said a prosecutor had been assigned to investigate the case. Our hearts certainly go out to the family, but bad choices were made, he added. This individual could have complied with the officer, he could have run away, he could have dropped the gun. Things did not have to end with him approaching an officer with a 9mm pistol in his hand. Mayor of Berkeley Theodore Hoskins said that both the city and St. Louis County would hold independent investigations. The incident could not be compared with the shooting of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Mr. Hoskins said, adding, the video shows that the deceased pointed a gun at the officer. Arrests made. Between 200 and 300 people gathered at the scene after the incident, Col Belmar said, adding that bricks were thrown at police officers, and 3 explosive devices set off. 4 people had been arrested for assaulting police officers, he said. Police are releasing video footage of the run-up to the shooting, and an image of the second man, who fled the scene. The handgun said to belong to the victim has been recovered by police. Some protesters remained near the petrol station on Wednesday. 1. Orlando Brown, told AP News Agency, I understand police officers have a job, but do you have to treat every situation with lethal force? It's not a racial issue, or black, or white. It's wrong or right. Relations between police and local communities have become increasingly taut in recent months. In August, Michael Brown, who was unarmed, was killed by a white police officer who said he opened fire after a struggle in a patrol car in Kenfield Drive, Ferguson. His death sparked protests, sometimes violent, and further unrest followed a grand jury's decision not to charge the officer. There were further demonstrations after the death of Eric Garner, 43, a black man who died while being held down by a white police officer in July in New York. Again, a grand jury decided against charging the officer. On Saturday, New York police officers Wenji and Lou and Rafael Ramos were shot dead by gunman Ismael Brinsley, who then killed himself. Brinsley, who had a history of violence and mental instability, had posted anti-police messages online, referring to the deaths of Michael Brown and Eric Garner, before the shooting.